Yo, what up guys? It's your boy SonTJ here to talk about Invincible Season 2. And man, I've been waiting for this to come out for a very long time. And it's funny because Invincible became very popular over the whole think Mark think. And that became like everything from Goku versus Superman debate, Saitama versus everyone. That just became a thing. And from seeing the amazing special with Adam Eve and how great that was, and just seeing like how the changes they're making from the comics and like improving them. Because listen, I know about Invincible from YouTube University, you know, watching people's videos talking about it, reading a few comics about Invincible with different stuff. And also, this video is going to contain some spoilers from the comics, but don't listen, I'm not comics explained. I don't know every little detail. Hell, I don't think everyone knows every little detail about every comic, but I know like he went to talk to Spider-Man and different things like that. So I know some stuff, but no one really going to know how Invincible does things because they're doing different stuff, man. And I watched this along with Gen V, which my homie Kendall got me on, and I marathoned it to the last episode. If y'all want me to talk about that, let me know. And I was watching Loki Season 2, Episode 5, which people have been playing on MCU's downfall heavy, man. I'm for anything great comic book content. So let's get into Invincible Season 2, which let's talk about the voice cast real quick because we got the GOAT Steven Yeun back with Mark Grayson, and he's doing a great job with even the opening where we're seeing like Mark and Omni-Man teaming up together, which that's straight from the comics, but it just kind of makes you like, oh wait, are we just thinking alternate universe? And of course we get Sandra Oh with a great Debbie, and Debbie, man, the stuff that she goes through this episode talking about, this man called me a pet. Like, bro, they're going down every cliff note about like what happened, which is great. And of course the legend J.K. Simmons, which again, Omni-Man is kind of gone for a lot of this arc, so I think they're trying to figure out how to, you know, keep J.K. Simmons, like, I guess, presence around, which I think is really great here. And they got to do a lot of work with Amber, bro, because there's some people that defend Amber and like how they written her and stuff, and there's a lot of people who don't like Amber, and it's tough for me because I love my black queens. And Amber went from like, you know, just kind of like your generic, like whatever love interest that's a setup for the next love interest in the comics. So they gave her a whole new design. They made it all great looking, and they gave her a storyline, which is, it's hard to defend, but I think they really want to let you know because when, I'm kind of all over the place, but I just want to talk about some cliff notes here. Is that when Amber was talking to Mark and talking about how like he did the best he could and he didn't kill those people, and when she said you don't owe anyone anything, I think that's their way of like trying to say, hey, listen, man, Amber is not ridiculous. All right, we know how it looks, but Amber is not ridiculous. But let's go down here. You got Angstrom, which is pretty much the origin. This episode is the entire origin of Mark's Green Goblin / Joker. Like it is starred by Sterling K. Brown, which he was also in Black Panther playing. Who's T'Challa's father? T'Chaka? Yeah, T'Chaka's brother, I think. Something like that. It's been a minute. And you got the rest of the voice cast. Of course, Gillian Jacobs as Adam Eve returns, and you got Walton Goggins as Cecil. Things like that. But yeah, man, this episode started off with a bang with this alternate universe of how Mark and Omni-Man team up together to take over the entire universe. And we actually get to see like a punished Adam Eve. Kind of remind me of Metal Gear Solid. And we see our villains, Angstrom Levi, which I think it's Levi or Levi. I think that's how they pronounce it in this show. I think they did a really great job of making you understand where Angstrom is coming from, right? Because it's the same way it happened in the comics, but we've seen like he's kind of like not the Professor X, like the Mr. Fantastic of this universe, where Mr. Fantastic meets up with his different variations, and of course more commonly known now with Kang, we're meeting up with his different versions of himself. We get our main Angstrom where he saves the Angstrom from being killed by that evil version of Mark, and it's actually pretty interesting. I was looking at different videos. I don't think it's said in the comics that in most of the universes, Mark teams up with his dad, and the Mark that we following is pretty much the best of them because he could have went with Nolan, but he decided to go against his like godlike father and take one of the biggest beatings of a lifetime. A meme, but he decided no. While in other universes, say, you know, that's my blood. So that's some crazy stuff there. And of course, we get the We get the twins, and we also get to meet some characters that are going to be really big in the future, like Bulletproof. And we see how, like, the Guardians of the Globe are not really doing that great without Mark. We even seen some character development for Robot. The Mauler twins are still hilarious. Awesome. Kevin Michael Richardson is doing a great job with that. And just seeing the chemistry between the twins and Angstrom, and just seeing the repercussions of just how Debbie's dealing with things, where she feels like her son is so far away from her. Mark is like saving the day, but the brother's on cruise control. Like, this brother is just, and again, we see with superheroes, they don't really be looking for glory or fame, but they usually kind of stick around to see if everything's okay. This boy is just saving fires, saving cars, whatever. He don't want no credit. He don't want nothing. He just doing what he needs to do, but still having like stress of what happened with his father in the back of his head, which it's a tough thing to bear, to be honest with you. But he eventually, meets up with his mom, and both of his mom and him are just kind of talking about how they just want to escape the house. And we see that kind of like what happened with Spider-Man when Uncle Ben died, and you had like Flash Thompson kind of console him. Mark's bully tries to console him, and mind you, they had to go with the story that Nolan, not Omni-Man, but Nolan died in like an explosion or whatever, and Mark is just kind of struggling with that. And of course we get Amber trying to console him, and again they're trying to walk it back, man. Look, I love this character design too much for y'all to keep saying she's the worst thing ever, right? Like, give my girl Amber a break, and she's also played by Zazie Beetz, which is one of my crushes. So let's just try to give her some grace. And then we see, which we kind of know who's going to be the final deal here, which is Adam Eve, who kind of comes by and talks to him, and he's just still dealing with that struggle, is what is there. And he tries to meet up with Cecil, and Cecil's like, nah, you ain't coming back, man. You're not mentally there, and I'm not trying to make the same mistakes I made with Omni-Man, which, here's the thing, though, is that, Mark is like 18, 19, whatever the age it is, and Norland was 100,000 years old or whatever, right? So he already played you from the jump. So like trying to do a false comparison there. I get it, but it's like, come on, bro. But yeah, like I said before, the Guardians of the Galaxy not doing that great, and we're seeing Rudy, and just kind of like talking about how he's still dealing with the fact that he has a real body, and he's like really there, and it's not just controlling it through a robot anymore, and he's just still dealing with it. And Cecil gets immortal to be the new leader because, he's been living throughout the years, and he also got killed in the Ultimate Universe, which is funny because that brother Omni-Man just keeps stomping the crap out of him, even though Immortal was kind of like beating Mark in that other universe, but it is what it is there. And yeah, we just kind of see how Angstom's plan, like the prime Angstom, the guy with the powers, everyone else just kind of are just escaping from evil Marks. But his whole goal is to kind of get all the memories and thoughts from his other versions of himself, his other variants, and put into one so he can save trillions upon trillions of people from cancer, stuff like that, which is a great idea. And the twins, which, they have the whole I'm the real one, you're the clone, that type of thing. They was going to try to, do all this together, put in a machine so he can gain all that knowledge and become the prime Angstom with all the knowledge of the world plus the ability to go to any universe. But here's the criticism I have to say for this episode, because the animation looks great. I think they're going to try their best to limit the CGI cars, because that was one of the criticisms that the show faced before, at least my criticism. But there was a decent amount of times throughout this episode where characters kind of went from off model, which I think that's to add on to like more fluid animation. But like Angstom's head and hairline was like fluctuating between head turns. And listen, everyone be human, love yourself. But I don't know, like I felt like that has always been my criticism with Invincible's animation styles, that the style fluctuates a little bit too much, but it's fluid though, so is what it is there. But eventually, I think Adam Eve or someone convinces him to work with Cecil again. And he says, like, bro, I just want to get back on the scene. And his first goal is to face the twins and Angstrom. And Angstrom, he's a pacifist. He doesn't want to kill nobody. Of course, he's worked with the other Mauler twins, but his main thing is he doesn't want to kill people. He just wants to, like, you know, do this plan. And even when Mark shows up, where Mark just wants someone to punch, he wants to take it out on somebody, he knows that this Mark, Invincible, which is another thing I talk about. This episode leads into the whole meme of season 1 where they could never say the word Invincible. They like even take a pause between they actually say it and there's no cuts. It's actually kind of hilarious. It's like they're playing on the idea, like, are we gonna cut? Are we gonna cut? We're not gonna cut. But when he's like facing the Mauler twins, which he's like winning at first, but then when Angstum like releases all of the multiverse of Mauler twins, that's when, you know, we get the classic Mark getting his ass whooped. He's kind of like the Vegeta of this universe, you know, just getting his shit rocked. And when it looks like Mark is gonna die, right? That's when Angstum, even though he wants to fill this plan, he says he's not going to build his utopia based off blood. And the twins told him, like, yo, once you start, you can't stop. So he decided to save Mark, and that ruined his brain. And I think the dominant personality that comes in, because we learn later, you know, one of the Mauler twins live, but he's like cursed on one side. So I don't know if there's going to be twins. I think it's just going to probably be the Mauler corrupted or whatever, like corrupted Zamasu. We see that Angstum survived, but, you know, he has this iconic look in the comics where he has like a brain mullet. And I think the dominant personality that shows up in that brain is actually the Angstum that was in the beginning of the episode, where he just sees Mark as the villain that he is in a lot of universes. And he just says that he did this, even though Mauler told him, yo, you did that to yourself. He's just pretty much just saying, I'm going to get my revenge. And that's how we lead to this episode, which, again, I think this is a great opening to it. Again, you can't really do too much from the comics. I think he did a really great job there. But just seeing how, like, it's going to he's going to be the recurring villain. And he's going to think that Mark did all this because, unfortunately, a lot of Marks turn evil. So I think it's a really strong episode. I think it's a strong 9 out of 10. I just think the only flaw I have is that the off-model animation is kind of like an Invincible staple at this point. And I'm not no animation expert. You can get on my head about that. You can get Anime AJ in this building. I don't care. I'm just saying there's a little bit of times. And then there's a lot of stuff I want to mention, like how, like, even though we saw evil Mark at the beginning, he wasn't really evil as he could have been, because when he sees Adam Eve, he, like, doesn't kill her. He paralyzes her, which, again, a lot of people could argue that's worse than death. But he still has some redeeming factors, which is interesting to say the least. So let me know in the comment section down below. What do you think about this episode? Do you think it did justice to the comics? Do you think it did something better than the comics? Do you think it did something worse? I forgot to mention, like, you know, your classic, like, you know, the douchebag character with Rex, and how he's like, I feel like he kind of overdid it with some of his comedy just a little bit, kind of went on for too long. And we see at the very end of the episode that Immortal kind of comes by and checks in and says, I don't trust you, because he's kind of mad that Omni-Man stayed whooping his behind. But yeah, let me know in the comment section down below if you want more Invincible reviews. This is just an experiment I want to try to do, and I just want to make more content and just have more fun. So yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting. Hit that like button, hit that notification button, click all notifications. And if you're on iPhone or whatever, make sure the notifications come to your phone, because you know how that stuff works. But yeah, SonTJ out, peace. Love you all.